Welcome back to Live Vedanta, a podcast about simple living and high thinking. This season, we are reflecting on themes of courageous caregiving through the ideas of Vibhishana Gita. In this episode, we're walking through the second half of our review of the season so far. Taking time to review what we have learned can help us slow down and reflect on actually transforming values into virtues.
Ariel, and greetings from Niagara Falls. A seeker I've known for a long time, more than 15 years. Recently, what I found out about this seeker is that he had an addiction to alcohol, which led to an addiction to Adderall. I don't really know what Adderall is, but I'm told it's like an upper. It is a stimulant. This addiction naturally caused conflict in the relationship he was in. His spouse engaged in adultery and lots of other messy happenings. As he was sharing this with me, he shared that he has no regret any of this happened because from all of this, he has developed the strongest bhakti that he's ever experienced. So no regret, because from all of this came the strongest bhakti. I've shared with all of you many times. God will never give you a problem without giving you the power to face and rise above that problem. When we think of problems and power, we have this habit to externalize. But our problems really aren't external. It is cold outside, but it's not a problem. Politics is confusing, but it's not a problem. And similarly, I feel all of us are mature enough to know power is not outside either. If I don't get along with my neighbor, what am I going to do? Hit him because I'm stronger than he is? Our journey is about becoming more and more and more inward looking. Parenting culture is like our guide. Some of us have a personal guide. I'm getting to be with mine at the end of the month. Some don't have a personal guide. So this is like a representative of a personal guide to encourage us to forget that problems are outside, that power is outside. Last week I had shared about forgetting our own name, forgetting about our own form. Parenting provides all of these opportunities. But without a guide, we start losing ourselves. And that's why us having this space is critical, is vital, so that we feel we have less problems, so we feel we have more power. In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 17, verse 15, there are special teachings on being an awesome public speaker. But really, being an effective communicator. If you think about caregiving, it's almost mostly based on words. When there is a child, it tends to be more action-based. But as that child grows, even in a relationship with two adults, more than actions being exchanged is words being exchanged. So chapter 17, verse 15 is about being an effective communicator. Three of the teachings that Sri Krishna shares on how to be an effective communicator, our words should be Satya, Hita, and Priya. They should flow through the channels of Satya. Please share with me in the chat, because we have studied this many times, specifically in Meaningful Mornings. This means our words should be, tell me in English. They should be truthful, good. And hita, our words should be useful, very good. And finally, priya, they should be beautiful. The words that come out of our mouths, whether to kids, to adults, to aging parents, should be truthful, useful, and beautiful. If we zoom in to the hita aspect of it, the useful aspect of it, to speak usefully demands courage. We are very much used to small talk, very much used to pleasantries. When I was in Jacksonville a few days ago, I had shared this teaching on speak usefully, and there was a grade 7 girl there. And afterwards, her mother had come to me asking me some questions about this or that. And she came and said, "It seems like you two are engaged in small talk. Didn't you just tell us not to do that?" And we were both confused by her sentiment. She thought small talk was when you speak in small groups. So, speaking usefully demands courage to speak in a way that is right, that encourages welfare, that brings out the best version in oneself and in those around me. So much of what we're investing in this year in parenting culture is to become more courageous, to follow through with what is right. And we're fortunate that we have a framework of values so that we don't have to jump anywhere. We can take a step and then another step and another step. Now, one important insight about a value system: only if you value that value system will you follow it. Today, I got an email from Athletic Greens. And if you order Athletic Greens now, you'll get a really cool hat. Do you know what it says on the front of that hat? Morning person. That's a cool message. A morning person. To say that you want to be a morning person, but not to value it, you'll never be a morning person then, correct? But if you value being a morning person, you will become a morning person. The value system that we are navigating is through the Ramayana, through the Vibhishana Gita. The advice that Vibhishana receives to become courageous, and he was amazing. He didn't just become courageous, he did become fearless. In our last class, I reviewed the infrastructure of Sri Rama's chariot, the 2 wheels and the 2 flags. Now we're going to start to review the front of the chariot. The wheels tend to be in the back and the flags in the upper part. What's in the front of the chariot? It is the 4 horses. The 4 horses. These 4, they tend to be hard values. And I'm saying hard because when we get to the reins, the 3 reins, you will see that these are softer. And before I do review these, can you give me an example of a hard, as if hard value? Give me an example. A hard value. Not hard to practice, but it's more hard in nature. Endurance, yeah, great example. Endurance is a hard value. Now, give me an example of as if a soft value. Yes, forgiveness, kindness, authenticity, you got it. And if we think of the strength of a horse versus a rein, those horses naturally are harder than those reins are. The first horse is Bala. Overall, this is value number 5. In the horses, the first is Bala. Bala, we defined as stamina, I believe, or it could be endurance. Can you remind me, did we define this as endurance or stamina? Stamina, yes. In a seeker's life, Bala or stamina is expressed as steadiness. And trying to zoom into this in a more worldly way, steadiness can be played out when you have non-negotiables. There's lots of things in life that can be negotiated. But for a seeker, being steady is a non-negotiable. I sign up, I show up. The second horse is Viveka. In English, this is prioritization. Viveka is important as a parent. It becomes harder as a parent. You naturally have to prioritize your children's health, but you have to prioritize your own too, correct? Then finances come in. The future comes in more strongly. When I'm by myself, my future is not as important as when I'm caring for many people. Viveka. Number 3 in the horses is Dama, D-A-M-A. Dama is discipline. Discipline. Another way to think about this is calmness of body. Those who are disciplined tend to eat better or at least exercise better. And so naturally their body is more calm. And number 4 is Parahita. The 4th horse, the 8th value is Parahita. Tell me again, what does hita mean? H-I-T-A. We just referenced this in terms of words. Useful, welfare, correct. Para means others. To be useful to others, for others, and shared simply, empathy. Empathy. I'll offer one more insight into these horses because they're all connected. Each horse leads to the next horse. So what I mean by this is only when you have stamina can you start to intellectually understand and appreciate what is important. Over the holidays, I got to interact with many of my family members. Some of my family members who are my same age or younger, some who work too much, some who study too much. I have found that they lack the energy to follow through with what they know to be right. They know that they should invest more time with their family. They know that they should look after their health better, but they just don't have the energy to follow through with that. It really became clear to me how some people struggle with Dama. There's so much laziness inside. Stamina to at least know what is right. And then comes Dhamma, the discipline to come up with a system, a plan to start to act on that. To start to follow through with that, which finally leads to empathy then. Empathy, other words for this, is service and love. And this is the best part of life. This is what makes other lives better also. These are the next 4 values. They're described as horses, and they are all connected. One leads to the other. Stamina, prioritization, discipline, and empathy. So those are like the hard values. And now we got to the softer ones. These are the final 3 that we've covered in parenting culture. We finished it over the last month of last year. Number 9 is Kshama. This is the first of the reins. There's 4 horses, 3 reins. Kshama. Kshama in English is forgiveness. I have found that the most simple way to practice forgiveness is it's not worth not forgiving. See, there's 2 ways to look at it. Is it worth forgiving? Or is it not worth not forgiving? To me, not forgiving just leads to more turmoil inside and outside. It's not worth it. So I may as well forgive them. Forgiveness. Number 10 is Krpa. The higher expression of Krpa is grace. The way that we can start to feel the grace in our lives is through kindness. Kindness. Tomorrow morning, our community, we are recommencing meaningful mornings. It is surreal to think we are now in our 16th semester. We will be completing our 5-year anniversary. And so what I'm doing over the next 5 days is I'm reviewing every semester of meaningful mornings. At the end of 2020, I had taught Jivan Sutrani, or tips for happy living. And one of the final tips that Pujaswami Tejomayananda shares in this amazing book is to feel his grace. To start to feel his grace in your life, in my life, in our lives. Kind people tend to feel that grace more. Impatient, mean people, they feel like life is against them rather than life being with them. Kindness. And finally, number 11, Samata. Samata means balance. While I was in Jacksonville, I went to a family's home and they're building a new home. And so I suggested that their new home's name be Samata Shala, which means the home where there's inner balance. Samata Shala. So really all of us should build such a home where we feel this inner balance inside of ourselves. So many of these values become easier for me to practice when I think of the cost-benefit analysis of not practicing these. It's January 13th. Tomorrow's Sankranti. It's a special day in our culture. Over the past 2 weeks, how many of you at one point have felt a sense of being overwhelmed? By show of hands. In this class, I should have asked the opposite. How many of you have not felt overwhelmed? Now, if you can really viscerally go back to when you felt overwhelmed, it could be right now, who knows? Is there a point to being overwhelmed? Did it help you get out of what you were being overwhelmed by? It is pointless. When feeling overwhelmed, just start. Start the work that's making you feel overwhelmed. For a lot of us who are in Chicago or in New Jersey, in Niagara, Toronto, and so on, if there's a lot of snow on your car, what do? Start your car. Just look out the car from out of your window and just feel the struggle. It's like more ice crystallizes on that windshield then. Just start the car. When you start shoveling, just shovel in front of your door and just make a path. When you come back, dig some more. Samata means balance. The opposite is to be imbalanced, overwhelmed. Just start. And I'm even emphasizing that in this year of 2025 or this year of parenting culture. Maybe some of you are just joining, maybe some of you have forgotten these values, whatever it may be. Just start. Start with value 11. Or next week when I take up value 12, which is bhakti. Bhakti, our parents taught us, is devotion. But devotion is it's almost like the softest of the soft values, so we don't really know how to hold on to it. A practical definition for bhakti is dedication. Dedicate yourself to parenting, to caregiving, to understanding. Why should you do it? Because you're a seeker before you're a parent. I'm not even saying be dedicated to being a parent. Any dedication will help you as a seeker.
If you enjoyed what you heard or want to learn more, share this episode with a friend or find us online at facebook.com/cmniagara. For those on the journey of self-development, Chinmaya Mission Niagara provides a community forum for seekers to listen, reflect, and contemplate. This podcast is produced by the Young Adults of Chinmaya Mission, an international nonprofit working to transform individuals through the knowledge of Vedanta. Until next time, inspire, love, be.